Hi everyone, welcome to the Spoonie Life and Beyond. I'm just getting us all set up, so please bear with me. I am actually vision impaired, so you'll probably find I won't be looking at the camera. I'm just waiting for my co-host to log on. And while we're waiting, I'll just let you know that we are not medical professionals, so today is not medical advice. It's for awareness purposes. So it won't be long. As soon as the co-host jumps on, we'll get going. So for those that are new to the channel, this channel is here to raise awareness for chronic illnesses, disabilities and invisible disabilities, and also to help people who are supporting those people as well. So it shouldn't be long. I do apologize. Just waiting for our co-host to come in. If anyone has any questions at all today as well, please do feel free to put comments down in the comments section, and Taryn will read them out for us because I won't be able to see them. Do apologize for the wait. Here we go.
Yeah, hi, how you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks, Taryn. How are you?
I'm going good.
So, welcome everybody to our new series, the Spoonies Authentic Take. I'm Sarah.
I'm Taryn.
And this is our first episode. Unfortunately, we're having some technical difficulties, so Taryn will be joining us by audio this time, but next time she shall be joining us via video, so we shall all see her gorgeous face. So what we're doing each 4 weeks is we're going to be doing some takes on people's journeys, their experiences, so people who may have put or rants, questions. It could be from Reddit, from personal journeys that have been sent in to us. We also have our own subreddit, Spoonie Life and Beyond. So we would also love for you to put down your take on each one as well as we go through them. So Taryn will be able to read those in the comment section. As I mentioned, because there are a few more that are on now that weren't on before, I am vision impaired, so I won't actually be looking at the camera most of the time. So I do apologize. But how about we get started? You ready, Taryn?
Definitely. Yeah, sounds great.
Okay, so the first one is from the chronic illness Reddit or subreddit, and it is by Big Decision 7979, and it's titled, "Do You Have Doctors That Flip-Flop on You?" So some of my doctors are super understanding, helpful, and acknowledge my problems. are real, and then next visit will flip completely back over to to medical gaslighting, make no effort to help me, and ask if I've considered maybe it's in my head. Obviously, like most people here, I have a difficult time trusting doctors, but lately I've been having a difficult time even trusting the doctors I've mentally put in the good or on my side category, because I just don't understand how I should read their actions anymore. I don't know. I've just been having a really tough time lately.
Hmm. I would say this one's a really hard one, because all doctors are different with
Mm.
their opinions and views on the, the kinds of chronic illnesses that a lot of people go through. I personally have been told, yep, it's in your head.
Yeah,
So I can totally understand that feeling.
same.
Mm. So I totally get that. Uh, but I guess it's a matter of trying to find that doctor that's gonna listen and not one that's just gonna listen and then, kick you out after a few minutes.
Mm.
It's really hard to find those types of doctors. Um, it's for them, I guess they don't really know us. We know our bodies better.
Mm.
So therefore, they're naturally gonna sort of say, well, it's in your head, because they just have that lack of understanding. A lot of doctors have been, um, I guess, educated by books.
Yeah,
You get the older doctors that have been educated by books and life.
yeah.
It's the younger doctors that have that lack of compassion and understanding for illnesses that you can't see.
I completely
That's what
agree.
I
Yeah.
personally find.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with that. I've had the same kind of experiences. And, it's good if you can find a doctor, if you can, that is consistent with the way that they treat you. It is hard when you do, and I find this with a lot of the younger doctors, is they aren't consistent with their treatment. So you can go in and see them one time and they could be really helpful. They could have that really genuine, compassionate bedside manner. So to speak, but then the next time you go in there and they've completely flipped around. And I found that with the older doctors, they do have that compassion, and they've also got that life experience as well. um, and you do have that consistency. But unfortunately, that, like you said, it is hard. And then it depends on where you are as well, because in Australia you have to be very careful, because you can actually get put on a list for doctor shopping.
Yes, that's another one.
Yeah, so you have to be really careful. So I'm not sure about America or the UK, how that works, but I do know that you've got to be really careful here in Australia, because you do run that risk of doctor shopping, and then you'll have even more of a tough time finding a doctor.
Yes, definitely. I also think that it's best when you are going to see doctors, even for the first time, is to write everything down that you want to convey to them.
Yeah.
And tell them, like, for how long you've been experiencing, what are exactly is going on, what your thoughts are, and then ask for their opinion, then see what they have to say.
Yeah.
But being also prepared for that answer, that that it comes back to, is it in your head? So just be prepared for that. But there's always getting a second opinion, but then, like you said, the second opinion turns into a third opinion, and then it looks as though you are doctor shopping. So
Exactly.
yeah.
And that's what makes it really hard. Yeah. And like you and this person who has made the post. I've been told multiple times, especially when I first started, trying to get treatment and find out what was wrong with me. I was told it was in my head, and then it quickly obviously changed, because you can quite quickly become sick. but it is difficult, and we do run into those problems. And you know, a lot of the younger doctors need to understand that just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. um, and it's also hard because your flare ups can be different. So, one time you could go in to see a doctor or a specialist and you could be having a flare up where you're literally covered in a rash. So, therefore, it's no longer invisible. They can physically see it. Whereas the next time you could be going in for a flare up and you could look perfectly fine on the outside, but your liver could be playing up or your kidneys could be playing up. You just don't know. Um, so that unfortunately is one of some of the issues.
Yes, definitely.
And you can also ask your doctor when you take in that list of symptoms, like you're saying, you can also ask your doctor what you can expect from them. So what kind of care will they be able to give you? What can you expect from them? And what the limits are before it then has to go to a specialist. So then you kind of, are on the same wavelength as each other.
Yeah, definitely. And I also think that I think there's also a bit of research when you do find a doctor. You can also look at their background of what they specialize in, because some doctors specialize in a lot of things and some only specialize in some things. So also finding what they've specialized in as and to how that they could possibly help.
Absolutely.
But I believe what you said was right about consistency. You need to find a doctor that's going to be consistent in your treatment and not just wishy-washy from one day to the next when you go and have that visit.
Yeah, and getting nervous every time you're going to go, wondering, what mood they're going to be in that time, whether they're going to help or whether they're not. Because that also adds to the problems, because then you stress out, and we all know what stress does to our immune systems.
But also not to give up.
Yeah.
Don't give up hope, because there's always an answer, to a problem.
Yeah, that's it.
That's another thing. I wouldn't just give up and believe what a doctor says is gospel just because they're a doctor.
Yeah.
I guess I would just, not fully take it to heart. But also, definitely don't take no for an answer either.
And take someone with you. If you've got someone you trust that you feel can help advocate for you, take them with you. Because I found that doctors tend to listen more if there's more than just you in the room.
Correct. Yeah, when there's someone else beside you, that's it.
Yeah.
And then that's also helpful, because sometimes when you're nervous and you're in the moment, you do tend to maybe forget or not hear something correctly, which, your friend or care person might actually pick up, what you've missed.
Exactly. Or they can call them on it if they're, not behaving appropriately in regards to your treatment.
Exactly.
Well, if anyone wants to add to that one, if you want to pop it in the comment section, and then we can have a look at them later, and Taryn will be able to see them as well. So what we'll do is we'll now jump into the next one. So this one's a little bit longer. So if I get a little bit lost, it's just the text to voice. So I do apologize. So the title is I'm Healthy, But I'm Not. And it's the subreddit from Chronic Illness again. And it is by PB Cheesecake. So can I be a whiny bitch today? Because I want to. I should be at my peak right now. I work out every day. I avoid triggers. I eat clean. I get 8 hours of sleep. I take my supplements. I'm on my meds and my social life is good. Basically, I should be thriving. And yet, this disease decides to randomly kick my ass at the worst times. I was feeling great until 2 weeks ago. Now I'm having a flare, hypertension, and a mystery vestibular disorder for the curious. Literally nothing changed except I had an ear infection. Such a stupid small thing to completely screw me over for the foreseeable future. No one will know. I'll keep killing it even if I feel like my body is shutting down. Keep my grades up, my body health, etc. My body healthy, etc. I'll just keep miserable. I'll be miserable because even though I'm one of the healthiest people I know, my body is cursed to be sick. Doesn't matter what I do, I'm sick. I'm so pissed right now. I just want to feel the way someone with my lifestyle is supposed to. At least the spite motivates me, I guess. So that one's a bit full on.
What were your thoughts first on this one, reading it out?
So my thoughts on this one is, for those who are in the Spoonie community or those who have autoimmune diseases or chronic illnesses, all it takes is for something like an ear infection that triggers your immune system to cause a flare. I mean, it's great that this person is avoiding triggers, they're eating clean, they're getting their sleep, they're really looking after their self-care, which is great, and it sounds like it is limiting or slowing down their flare-ups. The problem that I'm kind of thinking of is that this person is going to still push through it no matter how it hurts and no matter how miserable this person becomes, just so nobody will see it. Because as we know, when we flare, we need to rest. Even though we don't want to, we should at least slow down a bit. So that's kind of what worries me a little bit.
Yeah, my thoughts are exactly as that, but I also think that, well, flare-ups really don't give you a warning, and it does take one tiny thing to cause it.
Yeah.
And they tend to have, what is it, hold no hostages. It just happens. And even if it is not the right timing, and
never is.
It's not.
Yeah, it never is.
But something simple as a middle ear infection, look, it can cause a lot of problems. It can cause balance, dizziness, a lot of different symptoms, not just having that little earache.
And that's before the flare-up.
Exactly. And someone that's prone to having flare-ups or having a underlying chronic illness, that simple little trigger and then all those other symptoms that follow just snowball.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I guess, yes, putting on a brave front and remaining positive, but you're allowed to be miserable because you're feeling like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
I get her there, she's has the right to, but I guess it would be really, really frustrating because she is doing everything correctly. Like she is getting proper sleep. She is concentrating on her diet, her hydration, everything. So, I guess it's not a matter of that you're destined to be sick or that you are just sick. It's a matter of she's doing everything correct. It's just when a flare-up happens, she probably needs to take a little bit more, don't take it personally to herself, as hard on herself.
Yeah.
Like, just ride those symptoms, treat those symptoms actively, and keep doing everything else around what she's already doing, which will still help minimize the flare.
Yeah, I agree, but I mean, at the same time, she also just needs to be aware and listen to her body. So if it's because she's having the flare, if she's got to the point where it's really hurting, she doesn't have to make herself miserable by putting on a front. It's okay to sit back and say, today I'm going to have the day off. I'm not going to go for that run today. Like, I might just go for a walk instead.
Yes. Tone it back a little bit on what you allow yourself to do for that day when you're not feeling the best and feeling run down with the flare-up.
Yeah, totally agree. And it is hard, especially, because I know quite a few people, because I'm not an active person, I have mobility issues, but I do know a few people who are very active and work very hard. I, I'm,
Yep.
I'm speaking to one.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I am one of those that I push myself even harder, even when I'm feeling really
Yeah,
crappy or going through even a flare. I just keep pushing on, and I guess I do take it too hard on my
yeah.
own body, and
I
I
was going
never
to
listen
ask
to
you
my
how
body
you
or
push
anybody
through.
else.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is hard because working full time and being in the hospitality industry
yeah,
and having like all of my health issues rolled into one,
mm,
there are days when, yeah, people are like, "Oh, you're walking much better today," but little do they know that my knee is killing me or
yeah,
my feet with the metal titanium filled feet, and getting over one of my last ankle surgeries is still causing me a lot of grief. I might
yeah.
be walking a lot better, but I'm still suffering on the inside, and I just take my pain relief and keep smiling because I have to keep working,
That's it.
but
Yeah,
they don't. You hide what you're going through,
yeah,
but then I guess, yeah, it's hard because if I did walk around all doom and gloom, no one would want to communicate with me. No one would really want to,
yeah,
talk to me.
mm,
It's like, but if I'm chirpy and showing that I'm feeling good even when I'm not,
yeah.
you get more people are likely to engage, in you. And really, it's sort of like you're forced to suffer in silence.
That's true. I mean, I think a lot of people that I've spoken to with chronic illnesses have all said that the one thing that they've learnt to do, and as horrible as it sounds, is lie. And that's by making people think that they're okay, by putting on a brave face and a smile, even though all they want to do is scream.
Yes,
And it's just
definitely.
putting on that fake facade that you're okay when really on the inside you're not.
Yeah.
And we get so good at it because we have to. That's just, yeah,
Yeah, definitely. That's that's really, and I feel for her when she has those flare ups,
mm,
and when, I can literally like hear the frustration in her post,
yeah,
um with the fact that she's, having these flare ups when she's just doing everything right. I
yeah,
get it's a bit like, even on the issue of like, say, weight loss,
mm,
you'd be doing everything correctly to try and lose weight, but yet you stand on the scales and you still gained weight. Like, how's that even possible? That's the
exactly,
similar frustration. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Or, um, you know, it's it'd be like even a kid going to school, they'd be like the best student, but yet something happens and then their whole day comes crashing down.
exactly. And she's being
It's about
so
health.
proactive, or she or he, sorry, is
Yeah.
they are being so proactive and doing everything right. And I think that's where I can feel the frustration as well, is because they are doing so much more than I could possibly do in a day, and it just breaks my heart that all it takes is for an ear infection, and this person is so miserable, and they're working so hard, and they feel like they can't even just take that day to step back, that they're just going to have to push through the pain no matter what, so people can't see that they're sick.
Also, they have to go and obviously, um, see their doctor
Yeah,
and get that ear infection monitored.
yeah,
Like, because it might not just be simple ear infection where you need drops. You might need antibiotics, or you
exactly.
know, you might need an anti-medic, like anti-nausea, to stop you from feeling sick from the symptoms. If it brings on dizziness and like a vertigo episode, well, maybe you just need to sit down
Yeah,
or lay in bed and watch TV, or have that rest, and don't
yeah.
be so active,
Be-
knowing that it can put you off balance.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what concerns me, is what happens if this person's out going for a run and they all of a sudden get a bout of vertigo. They also have that risk of injury as well. So sometimes, and it's almost like we can't see the bigger picture, because, it's just like, how do I get past right now? you know, and it does, it makes it hard. Like, my heart genuinely goes out to this person because you can just feel it in
Yeah,
their words.
definitely for sure.
Yeah. Well, if anyone else has got something they would like to add, we would love to hear it. So again, if you want to pop it into the comment section, and Taryn will be able to see it. So next, we will jump onto our next one, which is again from Chronic Illness, and it's TinyBat6975, and it's titled "The Age-Old Question: Am I chronically ill enough?" So it's a rant, and the person says, "So I've been struggling with chronic illness, health issues for the last 5 years. Though it seems like a new illness every year, or at the very least, my diagnosis constantly changes. I've thought about going to a support group in my area, but I'm too scared I'm not sick enough to attend. At the same time, though, I spend every night genuinely debating if chopping off my hands and feet would be better than living with burning, itching pain with, according to the doctors, no cause, cure, or treatment. Sorry. How do I get over this self-doubt? Do I go to the support group? I'm hoping the people there may have advice, or at very least can just understand. But because it's not pain in the traditional sense, I'm worried. I don't know where I'm going with this, and I know it's getting randomly, but I'm looking for any advice."
Well, my take on this would be, am I sick enough? Like, how sick do you have to be? You know, it's that's that's a question that really shouldn't really have to be questioned, because really, if you're not well, you're just not well. It's not a matter of how sick you are to feel as though that you can or can't go join a group for support.
Exactly.
Obviously, you're not well, you're sick. So therefore, I would highly recommend that that person would go and join in with a support group.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always welcoming to hear other people's views on how they manage their pain and suffering, or to hear their stories of what they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and just even the slightest of support, you know, for her to even just open up the slightest on how she's feeling to somebody, I'm sure someone there would give her the support that she would be looking for. You know, whether it's, you know, just the slightest of illness, or you know, something bigger.
Yeah. No.
I don't think that she should have to really question how sick is she have to be.
Yeah.
No one should have to feel that way.
No, I agree. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, it says a lot about our society, as well as having to question whether you're sick enough to be able to go and talk to people who are most likely going through something very similar to yourself. And, you know, it's how much do we really have to question ourselves to see if we're worthy of something? You know, it's like, I don't think that there is sick enough. You know, at the end of the day, you know, there's no level of chronic illness. There's no level of invisible disability. There's no level of disability. You know, at the end of the day, I think most of the time you'd be surprised that you could go to a support group and you would find at least one person there that can at least empathize with you. You know,
correct.
and once you get that first meeting over with, you know, you can see that there are other people in your area that you can communicate with. You know, you can have that social support. You know, if you're having a bad day, you can reach out to each other. You know, you can even find mentors. You know, there's so many opportunities when you join support groups, and you know, it's quite sad if you're worrying whether you're sick enough to actually attend one. You know, I say go for it. You know, at least try the first time, and then if it's not for you, it's not for you, but at least you know that you don't have that what if anymore. You know, you went and you gave it a go.
At least if they just show up and get and see how that one visit goes,
Yeah.
then, like you said, if it's for them, it's for them. If it's not, well, then they know to look for a different type of support group.
Exactly, and they may even be, because usually you have the person who runs a support group. If it's not the right support group for this person, they can generally point you in the right direction of where they think, the another support group may be of benefit to this person. So I say go for it.
Yeah, that's my thoughts too. I think they should definitely attend at least
I
one
agree.
meeting,
Yeah.
just to see how they get on.
Exactly. And there's no way of being able to compare yourself as to how sick you are compared to somebody else. Everybody's
No.
going through their own journey. Everyone has got their own, health complications. There's just you can't compare your health to somebody else's because, it's just there's no way of comparing because there's no two people with the exact same, so I wouldn't even do that to yourself, but I know that we can, like quite often when we say, oh, there's someone out there who's got worse than me, but it doesn't mean that you're not worthy of that empathy and that time and that care. So, you know,
Yeah, I 100% agree
yeah.
with
I,
all of that.
I'd really love to hear other people's ideas as well, or even their journeys with deciding whether they're going to whether they joined support groups and how they found it, or whether they were in the same situation, whether they were feeling a similar way, whether they were sick enough to join one. I'd absolutely love to hear people's experiences with that. Um,
I mean, even if it's not a live support group where
yeah,
you physically go to a support group, just finding different groups, even on like here on Facebook or online,
exactly.
that
Yeah.
way you
Mm.
don't have to feel intimidated or show your face, but you can put it out
Exactly.
there.
Yeah. And then because, a lot of people, especially in this community, do find it hard to leave the house. So it is great that there are so many online options now, So I think what you've just said is absolutely 100%. Absolutely. They're definitely
Yeah,
out there. So, yeah. All right. Should we hop on to our last one?
yeah, that'll be good.
Okay. Let's do this. Okay. Now, this one is almost a sit down, have a cuppa one because it's a little bit long.
A
So,
long one.
just as this person says, just bear with me here. A month ago, I started having irregular heartbeats. Some days my heart races out of my chest, and others it plummets to barely there. After a week of daily irregularities, I decided to see a doctor. He told me it was anxiety, and I had to inform him that I have had anxiety for 7 years now, and this has never happened before. He said I should come back in 2 weeks if it continues. Here comes the hero of the day, my cat. He somehow noticed that I'm sick and that sitting on my chest and purring helps. So every time for the past 3 weeks, when my heart acts up, he comes over, sits on my chest, and just purrs. And then when my heartbeat is fine, he walks his butt off to chill under the air conditioning. He even follows me to my room, my bathroom, etc. It's like he senses that I'm about to go down. This has caused me to believe that it really is just anxiety. Pressure therapy in the shape of his fat ass sitting on me and his purrs calming me down explains it perfectly. Now I'm too ashamed to go back to my doctor because it really does sound like a new symptom of anxiety and nothing seriously. He gets an extra treat on treat day now. I got a call today to confirm an appointment and I'm considering cancelling it. I don't know if it really does sound like anxiety. I just had it for 7 years and it kind of shocked me that a new symptom can unlock on an average Saturday. So that's the post. So did you want me to go first on this one?
I don't mind. I have a few
Yeah,
questions.
jump in. Yeah, go for it.
So my main pets are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Pet therapy is the best thing that you can have around you. They know when their owners aren't feeling right because you have that level of connection with a dog or a cat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Definitely go to that doctor's appointment
Mm-hmm.
because when it comes to your heart, I would not take any risks,
Yep.
even if it ends up being a new symptom of anxiety or not.
Mm-hmm.
I would question the doctor first off, going, well, if he tells me it could be anxiety, I could go, well, it could be, but what other tests are there out there that could be done? I mean, have they had a 24-hour Holter monitor test done for
Exactly.
their heart? Have
Yep.
they had a 7-day Holter test for their heart? Have
Or
they
even
had a
an
stress
echo.
test done? Or an echogram?
Yep.
You know, it's there's so much that could be tested if
Yep.
it's heart related. If it's anxiety and you've ruled out heart related issues, and then it could be just a symptom of anxiety. And if cat therapy and what her cat does for her, which I think is rather cute, if that helps relieve those symptoms in the meantime, well then let the cat still do it.
Yeah,
You know,
for sure.
But definitely don't be ashamed to ever go back to your doctor just because, you know, she's found a slight relief with her symptoms with the cat's therapy.
Exactly. I agree. I really do. Like I love how, she was the way that she was talking and how much she was hurting, and then when it came to talking to her cat, even just talking about her cat or this person's cat, the humor and the way that they spoke about the cat and how much lighter, the way they were talking came about it. You can see how much this cat actually helps this person. And I agree with you so much. Like, I've got my 2 pugs and I've got my 2 cats, and when I'm not doing well, they know, and I know they know because they don't let me move. And it's just weird. It's weird how they know, but they do. It's the same as with my Shetland pony when he was on the same property as me. He's now on a friend's, but he used to know if I used to go outside and I wasn't well, he wouldn't leave me alone. So I think therapy with an animal is great, but like you said, I would still go to the doctor. There's no shame in going, and I wouldn't just assume that because the cat's helping that it is just a form of anxiety. I agree with you. They do need to rule other things out, do an echocardiogram, a stress test, a Holter monitor just for 24 hours, because you just don't know. And the problem is even if it's something to do with the heart, that can then trigger anxiety as well. So you could, there could be underlying issues underneath the anxiety, because unfortunately anxiety can hide and mask so many things, and then like you said, once you've ruled everything else out, then you can say, okay, so if it's my anxiety, what can we do next?
Exactly. There's always medication for anxiety too these days.
Exactly. Which is,
and
there's
also
no shame,
therapies.
Yeah, exactly.
There's different types of natural therapies for anxiety as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not just the conventional medicine.
Yeah. I actually, I don't know whether you saw it, the yoga with baby goats.
Yeah, that's so cute.
Yeah, I love that. I was like, I'd so love to do that, like just play with the goats.
I mean, my son has autism and suffers terribly with his anxiety. But the rescue remedy, they've brought out little gummies. He has those in his pockets if he ever needs to take something.
Right. Okay.
Rescue remedy is really good. It's a bark flower. It's a herb in the gummy, and that helps. So or meditation or listening to music or finding something that works to calm you rather
Yeah.
than even having to turn to medication. But I love that all their cats there for
Yeah.
their comfort and to
Yeah.
help relieve their symptoms.
Yeah.
We used to have a couple that used to live with us when we lived over north of the river,
Yeah.
and he was an epileptic, but he hadn't had a seizure in like 3 years, so
Okay.
we didn't think anything of it. But we had an old blue heeler. She passed at 16 and a half, but she would one day she just sat at the bedroom door when they went to bed for the whole night. She laid at the door, and the next day she stayed and followed him everywhere.
Oh,
And then
wow.
the following night he went to bed, she still stayed by his door. And then the following morning he got up to go to work and he dropped to the floor and had a seizure. She could sense something was
Yeah.
going to happen,
Yep.
you
Yep.
know. And then a week or two later it started to happen again, and she started following him. And I just said, are you feeling okay? I've noticed Misty's been beside your door again. And he goes, well, I think I'm feeling not too bad. I've been okay. I haven't had these seizures for like 3 years. And I'm like, yeah, but you've just suddenly had one a week or so ago. And then the following day he went out to the car and dropped and had a seizure on the driveway. So she again sensed that something was
Yeah.
going to happen. So then I suggested, well, if you haven't had them in 3 years and now they're happening, you best get to the doctor.
Yeah, for sure.
It's-
Absolutely.
Pets do know. Even if they're not your pet, they can sense things.
Oh, absolutely.
They have that
Yeah.
intuition.
Because I've got epilepsy and I also get low blood sugar, and I know that if my boys get to the point where they're lying on my legs so I can't move, or they're blocking my way off of the bed or the lounge, and I'm not feeling 100%, then I just pay attention to what they're doing because they're not letting me move for a reason.
Just stay put for a while.
Yeah, and the older one starts to get a little bit more anxious because he picks it up a bit more and he starts to get a little bit funny. So yeah, it's quite interesting. And I was going to ask you, with your ferrets, do they tend to get a bit? Can they tell? Do you think that they can tell as well?
Having 5 ferrets, they're crazy little characters, but they do. They're very affectionate, especially one of them, more so than the others. But they all, like, when I haven't seen them for a little while and my husband lets them out to play, and then I'll come in and sit down, they'll just swamp me and all come up to me, and then they'll start licking my cheek and stuff. So they know that they've missed me.
Yeah.
But as for a sense of anything to go, I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't say that they would be the right kind of pets to tell us what's going on.
Right. Okay.
Definitely my dog Zena.
Yeah.
She's. I had surgery and I had a catheter in for about 3 months, but she wakes me up anyway because I have bladder and bowel issues. But she wakes me up in the middle of the night to always go to the toilet. She'll always come up and bark beside my bed. She sets it on her own little timing clock, and she'll wake me up. She'll follow me to the toilet. She'll sit outside the door and go back to bed when I go back to bed. Well, this one time I had my catheter and I had the night bag connected to my leg, and she kept like barking, and I said, I don't have to get up, I've got this. And I showed the bag and I looked down and it was full. It was about to burst.
Oh, wow.
So she actually triggered me to wake up, go to the toilet and empty this big night bag because it was actually full.
Wow.
So, she saved a big mess there. So,
yeah.
She did sense that. So she's and if you have any kind of scratch or cut or wound, she's a wound licker. She'll try and get to that wound to try and heal it.
So does Hawkeye. T'Challa, not so much.
Yeah. Yeah. So I believe, what that person was saying, about their cat. I believe that, she's got a great cat there that's watching out for her.
Yeah. And they've obviously got a great connection.
But definitely not to ignore the issue and stay in touch with the doctors, and even push the doctors on to get something else looked at if
Yeah.
there is that underlying problem, because you always wonder, what if there was,
Exactly.
and it's not just anxiety. But
Exactly.
not to fully stress yourself out if it isn't anything serious. Well, then you can relax a bit knowing, well, it's my anxiety, now how am I going to treat it?
Yeah. And that's one of the problems now as well is so easy for people to just go, oh, don't worry about it, it's mental health. It's a mental health issue. You got anxiety or you got a bit of depression or this, that, and the other, and then nothing else is done about it. And it just makes you wonder how many things are getting missed in the meantime. That things are just getting dismissed as a mental health issue. Um, so something like that, it really worries me that the doctor's not really in a rush to do anything to look into it. So yeah.
Yeah. It
Mm.
makes me think, would she have a second doctor that she could go and see?
Yeah, that's where
I
I'm
guess.
thinking a second opinion would probably be a good thing in cases like this, especially if it's in regards to the heart.
Yeah, I personally have two doctors. I have one, if I just need a doctor's note, or if I needed scripts,
Yep.
I go to this one doctor and he's close by, because I know that he just gets you in and gets you out
Right.
very
Okay.
quickly.
Yeah.
But if it's something serious that I really need to talk to, or have something investigated, or I'm concerned about something, then I definitely go to my other doctor. And I travel 35 minutes to go to my other doctor's surgery.
Yeah.
And he's very thorough. He'll take 10 or even 20 minutes. He'll go overtime because he's always late in the waiting room. That's because he takes time with each and every one of his patients.
Sounds like my doctor.
I've known him for over 20 years, and
Yeah.
he's one of the best that's worked for me.
Yeah.
So I know if I need something a bit more in depth, then I will go to him for sure.
Oh yeah, my doctor's the same. I wouldn't go to anybody else, and he's always running late, but that doesn't bother me because he's worth waiting for. A good doctor is worth waiting for, and he will literally
That's
go through
exactly it.
everything you need to talk to him about. He won't just kick you out of his office. He will literally go through what you need to talk to him about and then come up with the next step. And I just think that's amazing. And he has empathy as well. And he's about 35 minutes from me. So I wonder if we've got the same doctor.
That's funny. Yeah.
So yeah, no. So I'd definitely be interested in hearing other people's takes on this as well, and see if they've got any
Yeah, I would be
stories on
too.
their thoughts. I think we might have a ding. Is there a comment in the comment section? Can you see?
I'm not too sure. Someone's just asked, Sarah, is this private health though? No, it's not. My
Uh,
doctors are all Medicare, public doctors.
Whereabouts are you located? Because we're in Australia, and our we've got our general practitioners, so our GP, which is on the Medicare system, um, and then after the GP, after that, you either go on the private health system or the public health system. So it just depends on where you're located. So this one doesn't actually say where they're located. But we're talking about our general practitioners.
Okay, this lovely person just said, I'm in Australia too, but I go through AMS, which is Aboriginal Medical Services.
Oh, okay. And how do,
That's
how do you
really good.
find that?
I hope they're really helpful though,
Hmm.
as well. I don't think there should be much difference between
No.
those medical services and your normal general practice doctors either,
Yeah.
because my uncle was a Royal Flying Doctor up in Roebourne and Wyndham,
Oh, yeah.
with the Indigenous communities, and he treated exactly the same way
Yeah.
as all other medical practitioners would.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not too sure what the AMS means, but the medical services that you would receive, I would say, would be the same.
Yeah. It'd be on the public health system unless you got private
Yeah,
health
public health.
insurance.
That's exactly right.
Oh, I think they've replied again.
Okay. Yeah, I find with me that they're not that helpful. I can't say that they are like that for everybody. My experience is not that great. I'm so
Oh,
sorry to hear that your experiences hasn't been great either.
yeah.
It is really hard, like trying, especially if you're in a area that might be limited to
Mm,
types of doctor's services. Um, so trying to find that right one that would be of a benefit
yeah.
might be a bit more harder to find
I think so,
in
yeah.
different regions, whether it be country or remote or like city. Um, yeah, especially where if there are limited services, then they tend to might not be so helpful.
Yeah. Do you
But
have any advocacy services for the AMS to be able to get extra support?
yeah, that's a great idea.
Just so you've got that person there who'll be able to go you through the process with
Yeah,
you, so you're not on your own.
that's a really good suggestion, Sarah. Bree, would you have that, or would you be able to like look into that? Would that be helpful? She said she's not actually sure, but yeah, I, I would definitely
Yeah.
suggest looking into like an advocacy service,
Yep.
as Sarah said.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
definitely look into it. I'm not sure who
see
would
what
be
other
tied in with
support.
AMS, but if you speak to AMS, they should be able to tell you if they have any advocacy groups that they work with that they can get you in contact with, because advocacy is so important. And if you're finding that the assistance or the help that you are needing is not up to par, and it's not that great, then I think at least speaking to somebody who helps advocate for others is a good starting point to getting you that care that you need.
Or like you previously said too, Sarah, take a companion with
Yeah.
you,
Mm.
someone that can support you going to your appointments,
Yep.
that might be able to speak on your behalf or come up with other things that you may not be aware of or sure of during your appointment.
Yeah.
So having that extra support would also help.
Because unfortunately, and I know it sounds horrible, but the care that you get in an appointment does change if you've got someone with you. Um, it's like almost having that person there that keeps everyone in check. So even if it's on phone, like just let them know that you're on speaker and you've got your support person with you. It doesn't matter who it is, just somebody that you trust, and then just get your person to acknowledge that you're there. And um, yeah, I think there's a reply, Taz.
Okay, so Bree just said that it's just mental health side of things. Their psychologists aren't equipped to deal with trauma. Then I sometimes
Ah,
wonder if they're psychologists, then how come they're not trained to deal with trauma? I guess
yeah.
that's very confusing, but I guess limiting the services then that there are there to offer.
Yeah. Um, they should, at least, if they don't actually have the psychologists that are required for things like trauma, they should be able to refer you on to somebody who does. Because there are telehealth appointments now. You don't have to physically go in for appointments now. So, you can have psychology appointments over the phone or through the screen. There's so many options now. So, you know, um, that's the problem, is sometimes people feel trapped with a psychologist because they feel there isn't any other options. But you do have the right to ask for a referral to another one who actually does have experience with trauma. So then that way you know that you're getting the care that you need.
So Bree also just said being on DSP for mental health. Then I thought I'd to get on NDIS, but said that I don't meet the criteria. But also her illness doesn't affect her everyday living, but when it actually does, so it's kind of a catch 22.
Yeah.
NDS
NDIS,
kind
yeah.
NDIS have very strict
Mm.
criteria.
Yeah.
It's really really hard. Even with my son's mental health and his autism, and even though he's on NDIS, we're having trouble getting him onto a disability pension.
Yeah.
Even that there is very hard criteria for him to get onto. But yeah, NDIS, they're very very.
And they've just made it
I have
harder.
a lot. Yeah, I have a lot
Mm.
to say about them, but I won't.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah, they've
say,
made
don't
it
get me
very.
started about NDIS because yeah, I ended up having to go to my or our local federal NP because I went to the state MP and they then referred me on to the federal MP, who has launched an investigation with the NDIS because I've been trying to get in contact with them for months. They never replied. Then I finally got a reply, set up an appointment, a phone appointment, and then they never called. So, and then every time I called back after that, my messages went not returned. So, yeah, it's not good at the moment. And then I'm seeing quite a lot because obviously, like a lot of the other channels that I'm with and support. They've all been talking about the NDIS as well because they're all saying that they've just made the criteria a lot harder, and some people are actually getting removed off of the NDIS.
Yes.
So yeah,
But I really hope that you can definitely look into it, for support in the advocacy type of way,
mm,
also to get suggestions on where to find the right, even psychologists that have that trauma experience,
yeah,
or even be referred to, um, because I'm sure that there is somewhere out there that would be able to assist. I guess
absolutely.
it's just going to take a bit of research and time to find the right one.
Yeah, and everybody is entitled to the right healthcare and the right mental health care.
Bree just said, "Wow, that's full on." And yeah, thanks, guys. Good insight. We need more channels like this for more awareness. Well, we're very grateful for those that have jumped on to actually listen. What
Absolutely.
Sarah has set up with me, I've really thoroughly enjoyed our first podcast on addressing these questions and
Yeah,
answers. And I hope Sarah has really enjoyed it
I
too. And it's
have.
great to see so many people jumping on and
Yeah,
listening. And
it's been
yeah,
great.
like we aren't experienced in any medical way, but we do have similar illnesses and suffering, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there just like us.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Brie also asked, do you guys talk about other topics? What type of
Yes.
other topics would you be keen on us
Okay.
wanting to talk about? We're happy to talk about other things. It just
Yeah.
depends on what you're interested in, or have you got something in mind, Brie, that you would be wanting answered or help with? So she's put up there, like bullying awareness.
Yeah, absolutely. So send me a message, Bree, and we'll have a chat. Because what happens is we do this one every 4 weeks. This is our first episode. But throughout, I do lives all the time doing deep dives into awareness on so many different things. So it could be chronic
Yeah.
illness, it could be disability, invisible illnesses, or even things that are related to those things. So the other day, I actually did a podcast, which I still have to post, in regards to autism and discrimination. And so that was quite in depth as well. There was a lot that was learnt through that one. So I do deep dives quite regularly through the week. And also if people like, they can send in their journeys as well, and it can be kept anonymous, and I can share people's journeys for them. Or like this, we can also do chats like this where you can kind of jump on and you can share your story. So there are so many options. But yeah, I'm absolutely happy to bring up any type of awareness that you think would help others.
I definitely think bullying is a very big topic.
Yep.
That it can be definitely get in touch with Sarah privately as well, and then we can discuss it together also.
Absolutely. Yep.
And even maybe have a three-way conversation about that if you didn't want to have an out there conversation.
Yeah, I think so as well.
It's very